oldest U.S. presidents. George Washington was already 57 years old when he became the first president of the USA. But do you know who was the oldest U.S. president at the start of his presidency? Find out with our top 20 list of the oldest presidents of the United States. 20. Richard Nixon, 56 years, 11 days at start of presidency. Richard M. Nixon, January 9, 1913 to April 22, 1994, was an American politician who served as the 37th President of the USA from 1969 until 1974. Nixon ended American involvement in the war in Vietnam in 1973 and brought the American POWs home and ended the military draft. By late 1973, the Watergate scandal escalated, costing Nixon much of his political support. On August 9, 1974, he resigned in the face of almost certain impeachment and removal from office, the only time a U.S. president has done so. 19. Woodrow Wilson, 56 years, 66 days at start of presidency. T. Woodrow Wilson, December 28, 1856 to February 3, 1924, was an American statesman, lawyer, and academic who served as the 28th President of the USA from 1913 to 1921. A member of the Democratic Party, Wilson served as the president of Princeton University and as the 34th governor of New Jersey before winning the 1912 presidential election. He led the United States during World War I. 18. Andrew Johnson, 56 years, 107 days at start of presidency. Andrew Johnson, December 29, 1808 to July 31, 1875, was the 17th President of the USA, serving from 1865 to 1869. Johnson assumed the presidency as he was Vice President of the USA at the time of the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. A Democrat who ran with Lincoln on the National Union ticket, Johnson came to office as the Civil War concluded. Johnson's main accomplishment as president is the Alaska Purchase. 17. George Washington, 57 years, 67 days at start of presidency. George Washington, February 22, 1732 to December 14, 1799, was an American political leader, military general, statesman, and founding father who also served as the first president of the USA from 1789 to 1797. He led Patriot forces to victory in the nation's War of Independence, and he presided at the Constitutional Convention of 1787 which established the new federal government. He has been called the father of his country for his manifold leadership in the formative days of the new nation. 16. John Quincy Adams, 57 years, 236 days at start of presidency. John Quincy Adams, July 11, 1767 to February 23, 1848, was an American statesman, diplomat, lawyer, and diarist who served as the 6th President of the USA from 1825 to 1829. During his long diplomatic and political career, Adams also served as an ambassador, and represented Massachusetts as a United States Senator and as a member of the United States House of Representatives. He was the eldest son of John Adams, who served as the second U.S. President from 1797 to 1801. 15. Thomas Jefferson, 57 years, 325 days at start of presidency. Thomas Jefferson, April 13, 1743 to July 4, 1826, was an American statesman, diplomat, lawyer, architect, and founding father who served as the 3rd President of the USA from 1801 to 1809. Previously, he had served as the 2nd Vice President of the United States from 1797 to 1801. The principal author of the Declaration of Independence, Jefferson was a proponent of democracy, republicanism, and individual rights, motivating American colonists to break from the Kingdom of Great Britain and form a new nation. 14. James Madison, 57 years, 353 days at start of presidency. James Madison Jr., March 16, 1751 to June 28, 1836, was an American statesman, lawyer, diplomat, philosopher, and founding father who served as the 4th President of the USA from 1809 to 1817. He is hailed as the "father of the Constitution" for his pivotal role in drafting and promoting the United States Constitution and the United States Bill of Rights. He also co-wrote the Federalist Papers, co-founded the Democratic-Republican Party, and served as the 5th United States Secretary of State from 1801 to 1809. 13. James Monroe, 58 years, 310 days at start of presidency.
James Monroe, April 28, 1758 to July 4, 1831, was an American statesman, lawyer, diplomat, and founding father who served as the fifth president of the USA from 1817 to 1825.
A member of the Democratic-Republican Party, Monroe was the last president of the Virginia dynasty, and his presidency coincided with the era of good feelings. He is perhaps best known for issuing the Monroe Doctrine, a policy of opposing European colonialism in the Americas. 12. Harry S. Truman, 60 years, 339 days at start of presidency.
Harry S. Truman, May 8, 1884 to December 26, 1972, was the 33rd President of the USA from 1945 to 1953, succeeding upon the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt after serving as Vice President.
He implemented the Marshall Plan to rebuild the economy of Western Europe, and established the Truman Doctrine and NATO. 11. Gerald Ford, 61 years, 26 days at start of presidency. Gerald Ford, July 14, 1913 to December 26, 2006, was an American politician who served as the 38th President of the USA from August 1974 to January 1977. Before his accession to the presidency, Ford served as the 40th Vice President of the USA from December 1973 to August 1974. Ford is the only person to have served as both Vice President and President without being elected to either office by the United States Electoral College. 10. John Adams, 61 years, 125 days at start of presidency.
John Adams, October 30, 1735 to July 4, 1826, was an American statesman, attorney, diplomat, writer, and founding father who served as the second President of the USA from 1797 to 1801.
Before his presidency he was a leader of the American Revolution that achieved independence from Great Britain, and also served as the first Vice President of the USA. 9. Andrew Jackson, 61 years, 354 days at start of presidency. Andrew Jackson, March 15, 1767 to June 8, 1845, was an American soldier and statesman who served as the 7th President of the USA from 1829 to 1837. Before being elected to the presidency, Jackson gained fame as a general in the United States Army and served in both houses of Congress. As president, Jackson sought to preserve the Union. 8. Dwight D. Eisenhower, 62 years, 98 days at start of presidency. Dwight D. Eisenhower, October 14, 1890 to March 28, 1969, was an American Army general and statesman who served as the 34th President of the USA from 1953 to 1961. During World War II, he was a 5-star general in the United States Army and served as Supreme Commander of the Allied Expeditionary Forces in Europe. He was responsible for planning and supervising the invasion of North Africa in Operation Torch in 1942-43 and the successful invasion of France and Germany in 1944-45 from the Western Front. 7. Zachary Taylor, 64 years, 100 days at start of presidency.
Zachary Taylor, November 24, 1784 to July 9, 1850, was the 12th President of the USA, serving from March 1849 until his death in July 1850. Taylor previously was a career officer in the United States Army, rose to the rank of Major General and became a national hero as a result of his victories in the Mexican-American War. His top priority as president was preserving the Union, but he died 16 months into his term, before making any progress on the status of slavery, which had been inflaming tensions in Congress. 6. George H. W. Bush, 64 years, 222 days at start of presidency. George H. W. Bush, June 12, 1924 to November 30, 2018, was an American politician who served as the 41st President of the USA from 1989 to 1993 and the 43rd Vice President of the United States from 1981 to 1989. A member of the Republican Party, he held posts that included those of congressman, ambassador, and CIA director. His son George W. Bush became the 43rd president in 2001. 5. James Buchanan, 65 years, 315 days at start of presidency. James Buchanan, April 23, 1791 to June 1, 1868, was the 15th President of the USA, 1857 to 1861, serving immediately prior to the American Civil War. A member of the Democratic Party, he was the 17th United States Secretary of State and had served in the Senate and House of Representatives before becoming president.
4. William H. Harrison, 68 years, 23 days at start of presidency. William H. Harrison, February 9, 1773 to April 4, 1841, was an American military officer and politician who served as the 9th President of the USA in 1841. He died of typhoid or paratyphoid fever 31 days into his term, the shortest tenure, becoming the first president to die in office. 3. Ronald Reagan, 69 years, 349 days at start of presidency.
Ronald Reagan, February 6, 1911 to June 5, 2004, was an American politician who served as the 40th President of the USA from 1981 to 1989.
Prior to his presidency, he was a Hollywood actor and union leader before serving as the 33rd Governor of California from 1967 to 1975. 2. Donald Trump, 70 years, 220 days at start of presidency. Donald Trump, born June 14, 1946, was the 45th President of the United States. Before entering politics, he was a businessman and television personality. Trump entered the 2016 presidential race as a Republican and defeated 16 opponents in the primaries. Trump was elected president in a surprise victory over Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton. He became the oldest and wealthiest person ever to assume the presidency, the first without prior military or government service, and the fifth to have won the election despite having lost the popular vote. Trump lost the 2020 presidential election to Joe Biden, but refused to admit defeat. He made unfounded allegations of electoral fraud, pressured government officials, launched a series of 60 unsuccessful legal challenges in an attempt to reverse the results, and ordered his government not to cooperate in the presidential transition. During the confirmation of the results by Congress on January 6, 2021, Trump urged his supporters to march on the Capitol, which they then stormed and searched in an attempt to force Congress to evacuate. 1. Joe Biden, 78 years, 61 days at start of presidency.
Joseph Robinette Joe Biden Jr., born November 20, 1942 in Scranton, Pennsylvania, is an American Democratic Party politician and the 46th President of the United States.
From 1973 to 2009 he was a member of the United States Senate as a representative of the state of Delaware. From 2009 to 2017, he was the 47th U.S. Vice President under President Barack Obama.
In the 2020 presidential election in the United States, he and his vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris won against incumbent President Donald Trump, but his victory was not certain until November 7, 2020, 4 days after the election, when he won the majority of the electorate had gathered. The result was officially confirmed in Congress on January 7, 2021, after the votes of the electorate who confirmed Joe Biden's election victory at the Electoral College on December 14, 2020, were counted.
His inauguration was on January 20, 2021. Biden was the oldest president at 78 years and 61 days at the start of his presidency. That's it. Bye for now.